Everybody, this is episode 12 of the Ginger and
Soul podcast. Jam-packed show for you guys this week. Talk a lot of NFL, college football, and we'll end the show talking about our Spotify warps. Or I call it warped. It's wrapped, but Spotify wrapped. But first, we just finished watching the Nets Mavericks game. Mavericks were up 17 in the third. Luka had 18 in the first half. Struggled down the stretch, and the Nets came roaring back. Durant had like 15 in the fourth, and Luka missed a couple shots at the end. So the Nets came all the way back and won. So, David, what are some of your thoughts after watching this game?
yeah, so Luka definitely has to hit that shot at the end. He goes for the first shot. It's a brick. He passes it off to Porzingis in the corner. I think Porzingis brings him back to Luka, and then Luka shoots it out to Hardaway, and Hardaway misses. And Luka, you just gotta find the shot and hit that. I feel like because at the end of the day, what we love so much about Luka and why he's so deadly is that clutch factor. And I don't know, has Luka had one of a clutch game on the level of some of the games last year? I mean, I'm sure he must have had a couple so far.
When they played the Celtics earlier in the year, and
Yeah.
Celtics came back to tie, and Luka hit a shot over three defenders and drilled it. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's kind of been rough going. You have anything more to say before I jump in here?
Yeah, just bad defense. You obviously can't and that's always been a problem for the Mavs, or at least as of recent years. You can't let Brooklyn come down and score like that. So definitely some defensive problems on the side of the Mavs for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're terrible defensively, but I'm gonna go a little bigger picture here and just talk about Brooklyn. You mentioned the Mavericks defense, but man, Brooklyn has a lot of defensive problems, and and even worse, if you can't play defense, at least you got to be good at rebounding. And Brooklyn really struggled to get rebounds. I think they found something with Claxton. James Johnson played really well, but that's not like a long-term solution. But I think Claxton could be a good piece for them. But I mean, if they play a big physical team like the Bucks, or if Bam gets healthy in Miami, they're just gonna have problems like we saw tonight. And defensively, I mean, this is so weird. Like Golden State kind of started this epidemic of everyone has to switch, and it's like if you're so Luka was just hunting for Patty Mills the entire game, and just kind of take as soon as they switched Patty Mills onto him, he went to the post. Same thing with the Nets. They would have Durant do it, and then they would look for Reggie Bullock. So it's like the whole thing where you have to switch in the NBA is like crazy to me. Like, who's the one team that doesn't? I think it's not Golden State, but there's one team out there that like doesn't switch any. It's like you fight over the screen. That's how you're supposed to play defense. So I think that's a problem league wide. But the point, anyway, it kind of got sidetracked. But the point of this is like Brooklyn needs to figure something out defensively if they're going to win the championship, because or they're just going to end up in the same spot as last year. Maybe they get Kyrie back and they just have so much offense that no one can stop them. But until that happens, they have to make a play. So that kind of leads me into our next topic here. Big story came out today. Miles Turner had been rumored for a while, but there was a massive article on Bleacher Report about how not only Miles Turner's available, but Karis LeVert's available and Sabonis. So not too concerned with where LeVert ends up, because he's been, maybe he can jumpstart his career on a different team, but like, is he a franchise player? Probably not. So let's start with I think a guy who could really be a big piece somewhere is Miles Turner. And I've come up with a couple of destinations, but I'd like to hear, David, where you think he could end up and what are some good fits for him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. It is pretty interesting that the Pacers are thinking about doing this, just because this kind of follows with a massive blockbuster trade, or maybe a trade on the same level. And who wants to go to Indiana? Not really sure, especially if Sabonis and Turner isn't there. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of places that Turner can go. He can stay in the Eastern Conference, go to a place like Charlotte, which I think would maybe be nice. I think you need Turner to go to a place where he can put in some um, where he can shine and put in some work, kind of like he has been doing, but even maybe in a more elevated role. Um, where else? Charlotte, I think would be good. Um, hmm. I don't want to see him go to like just some, you know, shit team. But then who does Charlotte even trade for? They don't have anyone to trade.
They have some
This is a
assets.
tough
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Well, Charlotte was my number one choice actually, so I'm glad you brought them up because
Yeah.
we talked about bad defense, and they're actually they're last in the league in defense, and they're like number 2 in scoring. I saw a stat,
Mm,
so that's why I thought Turner would be the best fit. Because I mean, Plumlee's not gonna shut anybody down. He's a nice player,
mm-hmm,
so I think Charlotte's the best fit for him. I have 3 other teams in mind, and this will lead into the kind of Sabonis talk here.
mm,
I was thinking, well, now I'm kind of thinking Brooklyn, but Brooklyn has nothing to trade, so I guess
mm,
they're not really a legit option. So I wrote
mm,
down Dallas, Golden State,
mm,
and Portland. But I
mm,
think what would be interesting now, if you're Portland, do you go after Sabonis?
mm. I mean, I think if you're, yeah, with obviously the news came out today that McCollum has a collapsed right lung. And even though CJ McCollum is by far the worst thing to ever happen to Damian Lillard's life, still, I still feel for the guy. Kind of, maybe. I mean, dude, fucking t-shirts under your jersey, like get the fuck out of here. Um, look at what that t-shirt's doing to AD. But anyways, so um, does Dame go to Indiana for just a massive, Sabonis Miles Turner trade? I feel like that's quite a bit,
No.
and I feel like the Pacers. They're kind of riding with I mean not the Pacers, sorry, the Trailblazers. Um I mean like you said, you don't like Nurkic. Do you think
That
that
yeah.
he could be some fodder to get traded?
Yes. I don't know what the trade would look like, but I think you start with Nurk, get him out of there,
Mm,
um, and then maybe you throw in. See, but I kind of like Norman Powell, but I don't know if he's a great fit for that team. But they kind of
mm,
need him now. It's so
mm,
you got to throw in Nurkic, which is fine because you get an upgrade. Um, just a bunch of picks. Um, who else do they have? Maybe Larry Nance. Um, I just think, but if you want Sabonis, it has to be a haul. If you want Turner, then Nurkic is pretty realistic, and I think that would
mm,
be a significant upgrade. I think they
mm.
really Portland is. There's some. I mean, talk about bad defenses, man. I mean, we're just hitting all of the spots, bro. And if you look at the best teams in the league, other than Brooklyn, who's at the top, right? Chicago, good defensively. Milwaukee,
Mm,
good defensively. The Suns, the Warriors, the Jazz. We can go on and on. And it's just like
mhm,
you see a lot of these teams, that are up and down, like the Lakers and the Blazers. They don't play defense, so
mhm.
and the Mavericks,
Yeah.
obviously. So, um, but yeah, I think Turner could be a great fit there. Um, a lot of people are bringing up the Warriors because a lot of people don't believe in Wiseman, so they think a Wiseman trade would be good. I just think Sabonis is a 4. You know what I mean? Like I can't see him as that anchor defensively as a rim protector. So I don't see him in Golden State. Now a team I think that should really be interested in Sabonis. And I don't know what they'd have to give up to get him, but it should be the Utah Jazz because that's a
Mm,
missing piece right there. Because they don't really have a 4, a tall 4. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
you get a 6'11" big to pair with Rudy Gobert. I mean,
mhm,
that's going to be tough to stop, really. And as if they're
mhm,
not tough to stop already. And he can shoot threes. He's white,
mm.
kind of a
Yeah.
classic Utah guy. So I think.
Yeah. Well, here's the real question is, when are the Bucks going to step into the arena and start chopping off heads? Okay?
Big game hunting.
Guys,
You want
let's give Giannis.
Dame Lillard?
Let's give yes. Dame Lillard, of
That's
course.
my dream.
But Sabonis wouldn't be bad either, too. I mean, listen, Sabonis is dropping 30 on these games, you know? Sabonis is a consistently, great player. Let's give the boy Giannis something that people can get excited about, you know? I'm ready to see Giannis with another big name. Are we not ready for it? Has the world not been asking for it?
I mean, if we're gonna go big, I'm going Dame. Get him Dame. That'd be my dream. But
can we get him Dame? Can we do a 3-way trade between the Pacers, the Blazers, and the Bucks? Get Dame over to Milwaukee.
It's just like, what is Milwaukee gonna trade? Middleton? I guess Middleton.
Give them Middleton, and then give them a few, I don't know, white kids. Give them the Italian guy.
Oh, that's my guy.
give him
DiVincenzo.
Give him Bobby P. You know,
tugging at the heartstrings. Give up what they call him, Splash Mountain, Brooke Lopez.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, the fact that Brooke is still around is just an incredible. That's an incredible true story for him.
He's been out all year. So I think we kind of touched all of the potential teams here. I think, man, I just can't imagine them trading Sabonis, because if you guys remember, the Pacers traded Paul George for Sabonis. So it's like, now you're already giving up on the guy. He's only 25. I mean, I get trading Miles Turner because it looks like at this point those two aren't going to be able to fit together, and you can get a pretty good haul for Miles Turner. You know, I thought for years Boston would just make a move on that, because that was their missing piece. But now I think their window's sort of closed.
Is it that bad of a problem for the Pacers though? I mean, obviously they're like in the bottom of the league, but I mean, like you said, Sabonis is only 25. You have young guys. Like, what's the rush? You know,
they got to make a change though. They need to do something, because I think you keep Brogdon and Sabonis, build around that. That's my opinion. But I'm shocked that the surprising part wasn't Turner, because he's always rumored to be traded and they don't do it. But like, I think you gotta change something. Maybe Turner brings in a pretty good haul. Someone might get desperate around the deadline. A lot of teams use a big, and I definitely think LeVert should be traded, because he doesn't fit there. I mean, I don't watch a lot of Pacers games, but like, his numbers aren't that good right now. So yeah, I think you got to make moves. Let's get on to sadder news. The Los Angeles Lakers. A dumpster fire, but not as big a dumpster fire as you think. 500 at the quarter pole, obviously disappointing. LeBron's been out, in and out. Anthony Davis has played pretty much every game. So now the word on the street, the stuff that everyone's talking about all over social media is everyone saying fire Frank Vogel. So I'll toss this one to you. Who do you think has been the biggest problem for the Lakers so far? Or what is the biggest problem for the Lakers so far?
It's definitely not Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel's a great coach.
I think so too.
And he's working with an unexpected situation of a brand new team, which is like the third time this has happened in his time being here. So I can't really blame Frank Vogel, because I think the team has to get going and has to figure out what the team is. And obviously LeBron being out, the biggest problem with the Lakers right now is just stability. Stability as far as, okay, who are our playmakers? What type of offense are we running? When is LeBron going to be playing? There's just so many unanswered questions for the Lakers right now. And the biggest problem is that our team just isn't quite a team yet. And the only reason that we're 500 right now is because we just have a team of veterans. scrappy veterans who kind of just figure it out in these situations. But I mean, right, the media, a month ago, the media gets hyped because Carmelo drops like 8 threes or whatever, in a night. But that's not a thing that's going to be consistently happening.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter too much, right? It's like we from a Lakers fan perspective, we just need to watch a team consistently over time just play well and all together and see what that looks like. Um, we have Westbrook now, and that's, we don't know what's going on with that, right? We have Malik Monk, who's shooting game winning threes. Definitely should not be happening. I love you, Malik Monk, but I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, is there anyone else? God, please. So, so yeah, we just need. I think we need time, and I kind of said this in the beginning of the year. It's going to take some time. Like, it's going to take a little time to develop, which is a problem though, because the whole point of this team was so that Carmelo and LeBron and all the old guys can win another championship and ride off in the sunset. But what happens when we don't win a championship this year? What happens next year?
Does Russ have another year left?
Who, Russ?
Yeah.
Did he get signed with a 2 year? I thought it was a 1 year. I'm not sure.
Well, we just took on whatever's left of his contract. I forgot if he has 1 or 2 years, but yeah. So there's so many issues with this team. I'll start with one thing you brought up, the Malik Monk thing. It's a great signing, and I actually really like him as a good piece. But that can't be our only shooter, right? Mm-hmm. So that's probably the Lakers' biggest problem, is shooting. Like, I'm not one of those guys that believes in the new school theory that that twos are a waste of time. You should be chucking up threes almost every possession. I don't believe in that. I think the last couple champions have shown that you can shoot under 25% and still win the title with defense and scoring. But you have to be able to shoot a little bit, right? Like, you have to have some threat of a 3-point shooter. And to make matters worse, you have guys that can't shoot threes that are just chucking up threes, a la Russell Westbrook and LeBron. I hate to say it. I mean, LeBron has improved, and he's hitting, and he'll hit he'll hit some unbelievable threes, don't get me wrong. But he's shooting way too many threes. He's too good of a player. Like, you got to bring it in a little bit. Like, hit a mid-range shot. Like, you see Durant even tonight, right? How many threes did Durant even shoot? It felt like maybe 2 or 3. And that's Kevin Durant. I mean, most of his game centers around the mid-range. I'm old, I guess. But the point is, I think that's a big issue. But I don't think... See, this is a huge reason why I didn't want LeBron, right? Because it has nothing to do with LeBron himself or any of the whatever that he brings, all the hype, all the pressure. I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is how the media covers LeBron, right? And this is what I'm talking about, right? Undisputed, what they talk about today. They had a whole segment. When is Frank Vogel going to get fired, right? They're talking, and, Shannon said he'll probably get fired around the All-Star break, and Skip said he'll get fired around Christmas. It's like, well, like, and this is the problem, right? Like, LeBron gets all the credit when he wins, and when he loses, we look for somebody else to blame, right? So we're just searching, and Russell Westbrook's playing a little better. Now we go to Frank Vogel, right? Now it's all Vogel's fault. And Vogel got no praise when we won the championship, and he did a great job. So it's just kind of frustrating right now. We're in a frustrating spot. I think that, along with Russell Westbrook, are two shooting, defense, our age, the injuries. No, yeah, but Russell Westbrook, man. I mean, he's just kind of, he's over the hill. Like, I love Russell Westbrook, but he's just not the same, and we're not using him right. He sits in the corner when he doesn't get the ball. I mean, you can't use him as a corner to 3-point shooter. And last thing I'll say, because I know you want to jump in here, Charles Barkley made a great point about Anthony Davis, right? He's not playing poorly. I wouldn't say that, but he's not being at the top 5 player that I had called for. When we went over our top 5, I had him in my top 5. I thought he was top 5 player in the league, but he's clearly not a top 5 player in the league right now. I mean, And yeah, so that would be the adjustment I make to that list to definitely take him out for Jokic. And we'll see about Luka. He's playing great. So I think I touched on everything, but you have anything you want to add or disagree with?
Yeah, no, I think that it's a shame really with the Anthony Davis situation. It's great that he got a chip, but we never got like the peak anywhere like kind of near the peak Anthony Davis. You
Yeah.
know, we
Yeah.
we definitely had close to it, but we didn't get the peak. And obviously with injuries, it's going to be really tough for the guy. And also, he still shoots way too much. Instead of posting up, it's ridiculous. It's like a
Exactly.
crime
Yeah.
against humanity.
Just about to say that.
Um, and yeah, with Russell, it isn't working with our team right now because who does Russell kick it back out to once he drives?
Exactly.
I mean that's the Russell Westbrook formula, right?
Drive and kick.
Drive it in. Your athletic is crazy. Kick it out to the shooters.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine Russ on a Golden State? Oh my god. Oh my
He'd
god.
be perfect.
Dude. Perfect. Oh, that would be amazing. But no, he's on the veterans, the senior league, LA Lakers. So yeah, that's about I guess all I have for that.
Yeah, one last thing on Anthony Davis. It's like, why does he catch the ball so far away from the basket? It's like you're 6'11" and you have like all these guards on you. It's also my issue with Porzingis. Like once he's in the post, I mean, he's unguardable. He has such great touch around the rim, but like when he chucks up those deep twos and threes,
what it is?
LeBron.
I'll tell you what it is. I grew up with a guy. I grew up with a guy who now he's like 6'9" or so. I don't know. He's fucking crazy tall. He never made it to the league though, right? And he always wanted to be a point guard. And you know what it is? Is that tall people don't realize that they're tall. Imagine if me and you tomorrow woke up and we were Anthony Davis's height. Do you think we would ever shoot mid-range shots? We would abuse our size.
Mid-range, yes, but threes, no. I'm going to the post.
Every single time because we know what it's like. We understand.
As soon as I get that switch, dude, when they switch James Harden onto me and I'm 7 feet tall, I'm going to the bucket. I don't care.
The things I would do to people. But Anthony Davis doesn't know because he's done it. He's been that way his whole life. So nobody has told him, that what he actually is. And it's a monster.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, if I don't, like the NBA we grew up in, right? Like when the Spurs played the Suns, what do they do every single play? You go at Steve Nash, right? Like shit like that. Like you can, like they take advantage of mismatches one time and they like forget that they're out there. Like no, you gotta be like aggressive, like abuse these little guys like Patty Mills. I'm going at Patty. If I see Patty Mills, I'm going to the bucket. No one's getting the ball on this play. Like shit like that. Like
yeah. It's dude, the craziest thing is someone kicking the ball back out on a mismatch. I don't understand it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be frustrating in the new league we're in. So here's another frustrating topic, and we'll kind of we'll segue into football here, but let's talk Defensive Player of the Year. There's a new narrative going around, David. We talked about this on the phone. That Draymond Green is the best defensive player in the NBA. And let's start by praising him before we get in here, but he's pretty much the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year because he's their center, which is pretty impressive considering all the bigs in the league, right? He's guarding the best, bigs in the league. He's defending the post really well, getting a lot of rebounds. So he is a great defender. People do give him a lot of shit because he looks like Shrek from Donkey and he kicks people in the nuts and all this stuff, but he's a great player. So with that being said, is he Defensive Player of the Year? Best defensive player of all time, like he believes? Best defender in the league currently? Where do you stand on this? Where would you rank him?
I bet that Draymond Green is the smartest defensive player in the league. Like I wouldn't doubt that. I'm sure that he knows more about defense than if like head to head talking about it. I don't know. You know, it's like Chris Paul, right? He's probably like the
Mm,
smartest offensive player in the league. You know,
yeah.
nobody knows more about it than he does. But it's hard for me to imagine that Draymond Green at this age that he's going to be better defensively, just as far as athletically wise goes, than a lot of these younger guys. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Dude, I was watching DeAndre Ayton play some defense, and I was like, dude, he's so long, he's so tall, he's so fast, he covers so much of the court. I mean, what a great defensive asset. I mean, when they were playing the Warriors, they were talking about that, just like how much it's different that Ayton covers the floor versus how much the Warriors cover the floor.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that I would definitely, highly question. I mean, I think Draymond's probably in the top five, but I would definitely question whether or not it's because of the Draymond Green. Like you said, he's their center. You see him playing a lot. He's very smart defensively. But are you going to pick Draymond? Like, if you need to save your defense, I don't know. Like, can you? I don't know. Pick him over the guy who's like 7 feet. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think this whole narrative is ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he's a great. I praised him already, so we're done with that, right? And he's
Mm-hmm.
so he's a great defender. He's won the award before, deservedly so. But
Mm-hmm.
like, dude, you're gonna seriously tell me he's a better defender than Giannis? I watched Giannis in the playoffs get burned, run all the way back, block an alley oop, and just take it. And again, and we didn't talk about this game. I wish we could have, but it's been so long. But um, I saw it against the Hornets. He went chased down Lamelo, blocked the shot, took the ball, didn't even look to pass, just took it all the way to the rim and dunked it on the other end.
Mm,
Is Draymond doing
yeah,
that? No.
yeah.
Even like a Rudy Gobert, who I don't can't stand, he blocks all kinds of shots, and he's a great defender too. So, and then
Yeah.
I think Bam is the most slept on. That was my original pick to win Defensive Player of the
Mm,
Year, but I mean,
mhm.
but like as the years gone on, like as you watch these games, it's like if you think anybody other than Giannis is Defensive Player of the Year, like I don't have time for it. Like,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
so that's just my 2 cents on that. And oh, and I loved your point about DeAndre Ayton. I think he's an underrated defender as well. Very, very,
Yeah.
very true. Um,
Yeah. It is it's a shame, right, that when you play the both sides of the ball so well, right, that people are gonna like overlook one area.
yeah,
A lot of the times it's like, oh, can we really make him like the MVP and defensive player of the year? It's like, well, you can, but you
you
just won't.
can. Yeah, and he probably could have won it. He should have won it last year over whoever won it last year. I thought, you saw it in the
Yeah,
finals. That's all I know.
yeah,
Um,
man.
all right, let's move on to a topic I know you're dying to talk about. We're gonna switch
Mhm.
over to the NFL. Last night in windy Buffalo, New York, the New England Patriots storm in and take the win over the Buffalo Bills. They are now the number one seed in the AFC, number one in the AFC East, and Mac Jones threw a total of 3 passes, maybe two.
Who is Mac Jones?
And what's crazy is, I'll let you kind of really dig in here, but like, did you see that Sean McDermott comment today, or whatever that Bills coach is named? Is it Sean
Oh yeah,
McDermott?
that is his name. Yeah. What did he say? I didn't see
He's
that.
like, let's not give Bill too much credit for this win. It's like, well, Bill Belichick, like, that was one of the most impressive coaching jobs I've ever seen. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
Mm-hmm.
to stick to the game plan and just run it on third and long like that, and whatnot was really impressive. So I don't want to take too much of your thunder here. So I know as a Patriots fan, you're dying to talk about this. So go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, Buffalo Bills fans, but Bills Mafia, you guys are gross people. I mean, I was looking at that crowd, and I was looking at all you guys, you fucking fools. I mean, I'm pretty sure like 3/4 of you guys, or not 3/4, like 1/3 of you guys, I was seeing them Patriots jerseys, because y'all are all the way upstate in Buffalo, where nobody wants to be. All you guys have is Griselda, West Side Gun, and um, Benny the Butcher, and Conway, but that's about it. all
It's pretty
for
good.
you guys in Buffalo. And but yeah, I mean, it's something that I wouldn't have predicted would have happened this year, to be completely honest. The fact that we're in the position we are now, it's like incredible. You already touched on it. The coaching is incredible. Yeah, I just, dude, we fucking run this show, dude. We fucking run this show. And you know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen? And I love it. I love it because now I'm back to, Patriots being the number one hated team in sports, and I can just see it on everyone's faces. I can see it. I could see it in my friends and family, earlier in the year. Oh, NFL was all good to talk about with David. Oh, yeah, no, it's all smiles. Oh, the Pats. Oh, it's all smiles. It's all good. Oh, not anymore. Oh, the spite that I feel in all these other people who thought who after Brady left, they prayed and they were so happy. They thought they weren't going to have to deal with this situation ever again in their lifetimes. But no, we're back, motherfuckers. And then we're going to go to the Super Bowl. We're probably going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh,
everyone's going to say that everyone's going to say the NFL is rigged, and that's just what's going to happen. So yeah, who is Mac Jones? We're going to the Super Bowl. Motherfuckers.
Oh my god, that'd be the worst. The coverage is gonna be nauseating if that happens. And what's even worse is Brady's probably gonna win MVP because no one wants to win it. And Brady's just like, well, I'll play Atlanta twice. Put up 500 yards a week.
Oh, and also, guess what? Buffalo, guess who they play
Tampa.
next week?
Who you got?
TB12, motherfuckers. So Allen's going to get that double smackdown, that double fucking dick down from both ends. Oh, it feels good.
Rough one to watch. And Allen missed the guy wide open at the end. I thought McDermott got out coached and I knew, this is when I knew the game was not over, but lost, right? Like, this is where they lost the game. 2nd and goal at the 1. Why are you throwing the football? It's 50-mile-an-hour winds. You could literally run a QB sneak. Belichick did it 5 yards out from a first down. There were so many things you could have done there. Just a kind of a frustrating game to watch. Fascinating because of the coaching decisions by Bill. But man, you hate to see it. You really do. You just.
It is well that they didn't run it with Allen because Allen was killing us on the run all game.
Yeah. No, they could have run the option.
That would piss me. That would piss me off. That pissed me off so much when I would see him running out there, and I couldn't believe that he didn't. That he didn't get it in the end zone. Those times
either
when
drive.
He was in there. I thought we were fucked, but no sirree, baby.
Yeah.
Who do we got? We got J.C. Jackson, baby. Ooh.
Oh, give us back Adrian Phillips already, all right? Like the prank is over. Like you already gave Hunter Henry that gross contract. Like at least let us keep Phillips. Let us have the best secondary in the league. So speaking of my team, I do need to address it. It was just like, I'm happy that we won, but it's one of the grossest wins like I've ever seen in my life. I mean, up 24-0. Oh, all my friends are hearing it because you know what, David? When the Chargers
and guys, and Ginger's talking about the Chargers.
Oh yeah, we're talking. Oh yeah, so let's dive into the Chargers Bengals game. I should preface it. It's funny because when the Chargers win, David, my phone is extremely quiet. There's nothing about it. I get no texts. All right, I see nothing about it on the media. I see nothing on social media. No one talks about it on the talk shows. As soon as they lose one game, it is the number one topic every time. When we lost to Baltimore, what was the number one topic? Oh, the Chargers, they're not legit, are they? When they lost to the Broncos, everyone was rubbing it in. All right. Now, when they beat the Bengals, I saw one person talk about it, maybe. I mean, and like, it was an ugly win, so whatever. My point is, and by the way, lots of Chargers fans were at that game. All right, I don't want to hear that shit anymore either. We go up 24-0. Keenan converts the pass. I'm texting everybody. I'm fired up. And then I knew what was going to happen. I knew they trimmed the lead little by little. And here is why they trimmed the lead. All right, we were killing them. Eckler with the fucking fumbles. All right, what are you doing? And they're just like, it's just all you do is hold on to the ball. Herbert is destroying them. Even during this run they're on, Herbert is just marching up the field like it's nothing. So all I tried to do was hold on to the ball. Herbert's saved a touchdown, but they scored anyway. If you saw a tackle, I mean, yeah, how can you not like the guy, right? Like that was sick. And then thankfully the Bengals out just when I thought. Sorry, I should give it a little hype here. So the Bengals cut the lead down to 2. It's 24-22 because they don't get the 2-point conversion after they score. The Chargers got stopped or whatever. The Bengals are looking to put the game away. They're in the Chargers, not the red zone, but like plus territory. And they're running the ball, and Nixon is untouched, and just the ball slips. Chargers take it for the touchdown. They out Chargers the Chargers, and we just put them away after that. Joe Burrow, oh my God. The drama queens of these analysts. Oh, look at his little finger. Oh, poor baby. Like, please. Like, I bought that for a second and he just started ripping past him. Like, dude, he's fine. Like, stop. His finger's fine. All right, you know who was injured is Joey fucking Bosa, all right? One of the best pass rushers in the league, and we're still sacking him every play. Yeah, I bet you Bengals fans, all 8 of you, probably want Penei Sewell now. Yeah, and Jamar Chase with that drop. That was hilarious. Anyway. The Bungles themselves. They'll probably but you know what? As much as I'm shitting on the Bengals, David, I have a prediction for you because I watched someone else shit their pants in Pittsburgh, and you know who I'm talking about. All right, and you texted me as soon as it happened. All right, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, always a close game, a great rivalry. Lamar Jackson scores. We're going overtime. And John Harbaugh, you know, I didn't really buy it, but he did make a college coaching move. This is a very
college coach.
But when he made this decision, I was like, you normally only see this in college. So
yep.
I'll give you that. Very college move. And they run the perfect play. It was masterfully executed. All right. Lamar Jackson does a play action. Now it's a fake option because now you draw TJ Watt in. Now you sneak the tight end right behind him. He's wide open. And Lamar Jackson, typical Lamar Jackson, not even near Mark Andrews. It hits him in the hand, all right? A little bit, but come on. That was a bad throw. Almost any quarterback in the league makes that throw 10 out of 10 times, except maybe Zach Wilson. So I don't want to hear you guys defend Lamar right now, all right? And he's been terrible. I mean, we saw it against Cleveland, 4 interceptions and whatever, so... here's my prediction. Bengals are going to win that division. They're going to do it. And they already blew out Baltimore this year. All right. I don't have the standings in front of me. That loss obviously hurts Cincinnati, but it hurt, Baltimore lost too. So it's kind of a draw. I think they're only a game out. All the division races are going to come down to the wire. Except, well, actually, even in the AFC South, now the Titans are kind of folding a little bit. I think the Bengals are going to do it. I think I like their team. Their defense is decent. Their O-line is obviously an issue, but they got all kinds of weapons, and Burrow's healthy.
Wait, hold on. Did someone knock? No. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, so yeah, anyway, that's kind of my rant on the Chargers-Bengals game. Little Steelers-Baltimore game. Rant. You want to talk about Seattle, San Francisco, or do you want? Why don't you talk about either of those 2 games or what? Anything from this past week other than the Patriots because we talked about them enough.
I love it. We're back, baby. Yeah. So yeah, I think you guys could give yourself more credit. The Chargers here for that win against Cincy. Against the Bengals, that was a pretty good win, and yeah, I could definitely see them. Ravens are kind of falling apart a little bit, and yeah, I mean that was still a big win for you guys to get that dub. And
not to cut you off, but it saved the season. I said going in, if we lost that game, to me the season was over. That's how I felt.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to see who you guys have next. So
the Giants,
Giants, and then Chiefs, Texans, Broncos, Raiders. Okay. So yeah, it's going to be quite a battle for you guys. It's doable, but it's those division games that are the...
Well, here's the thing with Denver, right? Like, Denver always has our number, but the thing with Denver is and everybody has this issue. Winning at Mile High is one of the toughest plays, and no one talks about it because they're average. But winning at Mile High is a lot harder than almost any other stadium because the altitude, and they have great fans. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always cold there this time of year. So it's really hard to win there. When they go on the road,
Mm.
that's where they have struggles, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, interesting stuff happening in the NFL right now. But I think that, um, damn, yeah, I think that. Well, let's talk about the Bucks, the Buccaneers here.
Ugh,
Okay.
ew.
We'll circle back to some more Brady talk, but I think it is pretty important because
Are they number one in the NFC?
no, because I think they took an L to the Packers, right, or the Cardinals, one of those two teams they lost to. Um,
The Rams
Cardinals.
beat
Well, actually,
them.
we could talk about the Cardinals though. Let's talk. Yeah, well, I'll cut out that earlier stuff. Let's talk
Yeah,
about the
yeah. Cut out
Cardinals
whatever
here
you want.
because I think the Cardinals are actually looking really fucking good. I mean, they're 10-2, and I know as someone who had Kyler Murray on my fantasy team for the past 4 weeks and him not being there and fucking Colt McCoy throwing the ball, the fact that they're still 10-2, I think is pretty impressive. And then Murray comes back in this last game and they basically dominate the Bears the entire game. And I don't even know if Murray topped like 200 yards. I mean, it was crazy. He had some big throws, with Hopkins being back and all that, but he didn't even really need to go that off, and that's scary, man.
Yeah.
That is really really scary. Um, and so I'm really don't know who to go for right now. And does Washington take over the NFC East, dude? Are the Cowboys falling apart? I mean, this would be the most Cowboys move in the world. I would get
They
so
lost.
rock hard if the Cowboys lose the division.
What? How
Because
many games back is Washington now?
2 games.
So they play this weekend. Um,
Yeah, they play next. So damn, they still
Huge
play
game.
the
They play
Cowboys
twice.
twice. Yeah.
Ooh. I gotta be honest, dude. They're Taylor Heineke is an underrated quarterback. Like he's not
He
a
is.
superstar or someone you give a max contract to, but um, well, I won't say that, but like, I won't talk about that. But like going against him in my mind, at least rooting against him, it's like, man, he just picks up a first down. He's athletic. He can make the safe throws. He's just
Yeah.
a good player. He's a good player. So
Yeah. But yeah, let's circle back though to your favorite quarterback ever, Jimmy G.
oh my god.
How you feeling? How are you feeling about the boy right now? Because I know that's your guy. I know you love some Jimmy G action.
Ugh, God, dude. I mean, they had so many. I mean, talk about two teams that absolutely fucking stink, bro. These are my two biggest disappointments of the season. We've talked about them extensively, but the Niners, I still think they're back. That they had that game so many times. They pick off Russell Wilson to start the third quarter in the end zone, and then Jimmy G takes a safety. They go and they stop Seattle at the goal line in the fourth quarter. They drive 98, almost 98 yards down the field, and they just couldn't get it done. And Seattle was, I gotta be honest, I forgot, I forgot what that Seattle home crowd is like. It was really loud. Like, that was like, wow. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's tough to win at Seattle. I think and I think the bottom of the NFC you saw with the Vikings is really putrid. So the Niners winning the division, that is out the window, right? I mean, come on,
Yeah.
you can't lose that game if you're a division winner. But like, you got George Kittle. I imagine Debo's coming back. They didn't have him in that
Mm.
game. You got Ayuk. I think they could do something. I mean, I don't want to. Do you want to play that team in a first round playoff game with that defense and Kittle?
Yeah. No, no. I mean, they're a sneaky one. They're a sneaky group.
Right.
Um, the biggest problem here, guys, is it's. I'm sorry, and this isn't me. Listen, I'm over my hate of Jimmy G. Okay,
No, you're right, dude.
I'm fine with the guy. But dude, he is a fucking liability. I
Yes.
mean, guys, absolutely terrible quarterback. Um, but no, but they're a sneaky team for sure. Elijah Mitchell though, he rushed 22 times, only picked up 66 yards,
He got hurt in that
which
game
is pretty
too.
surprising. Yeah, he got hurt too. He came back on the field, but he
That
did
was a
get
cheap
hurt
shot.
towards the end there. Yeah, yeah. Um,
So here's a question. Oh, sorry, you're gonna say something?
No, go for it.
Here's a question about Seattle. Well, there's a lot of questions about Seattle, but let's start with Jamal
Mm,
Adams. What do you do with this guy?
mm,
I wouldn't
mm,
resign him. I'd let him walk.
mm.
What do you think?
Um, can you let him walk though? Like, what are
Yes.
your options? You think so?
Quandre Diggs is fine. He had the pick. I
He had
mean,
the
you
pick.
could.
Yeah, you still have Bobby Wags too.
Yeah,
And
he's
he got a
he's
pick. He got a pick as well, but he's getting a little up there as far as age
yeah.
goes. Um, damn, Jamal Adams is still 26 years old though.
But
Oh
like,
my
what does he
god.
do? He doesn't pick the ball
He,
off. I can tell you that.
yeah. It's so cutthroat. I mean, because I do like the guy, but you're probably right.
Maybe I just don't
Um,
like him.
yeah.
All right. Now here's the real question about Seattle because we got to cut this shit. All right.
hmm
Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll? Who should they stick with?
You got to stick with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Carroll's a dead man walking. I mean, sorry. I mean, God bless his soul, but dude, Pete Carroll. I mean, is chewing the bubble gum the thing that's keeping him alive? Is that why he chews it all game? Because he like just needs to keep on chewing something. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's just getting too old, and it's probably just a wrap for the dude. You know, like dude, just stop head coaching. You know, I'm not saying you're a bad. No, I'm not saying you're a terrible coach or anything because I don't know that for sure. But you can't have Russell Wilson and because dude, there's not Russell Wilson is still elite in my opinion. It's
Oh,
just that O line is
no
what you
question.
say.
He's elite. No question. He's elite.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, go ahead though, because I know you're pretty passionate about this topic.
I'm seeing a lot of tweets about our president referring to him as Sleepy Joe, and it's time to start
Mm.
calling Pete Carroll Sleepy Pete instead of Sneaky Pete. All right, this guy is old as dirt, and DK Metcalf has Josh Norman on the whole game. I'm throwing there 20 times, and
Yeah.
just make Josh Norman's either gonna get a PI call or get burned,
Mhm.
if not both,
Yeah.
on the same play. DK was destroying him. Um, but no, actually, it's a trick question because I actually think you get rid of both. I think you get rid of both.
Mm.
You just get what you can for Russ now. This is his peak value.
Mm.
And, like, you're so far away from winning, in my opinion. Like, that defense has to be completely overhauled. That offensive line is... I mean, it's amazing watching Russell Wilson play with that bad of an O-line. Like, if I'm the Colts, this is what I'm doing this offseason. And I just thought of this. So I'm kind of working it out. I'm calling up Seahawks and I'm saying, what would it take? What do you want? And maybe Russ will be like, I don't want to go. If Russ wants to go to the Giants over the Colts, then he's out of his mind, dude. The Giants are like as much as I've just ripped Seattle there, the Giants are like 10 years away from like even being a playoff team. Like that's way above like our pay grade to say what's wrong there. So I think you just completely just nuke it because like the longer you let Russ sit there, unless Russ wants to stay, it's you go to Russ and say, look, like this is gonna be a long rebuild. Like we're gonna not be good. Like we'll try and get you offensive linemen or something, but like this is gonna be a long. Are you in for the long haul here? If he says yes, keep him, I guess. But like if he says no, like I'm not. I wanna try and get a ring somewhere else. Then you do it now. It's now or never. That's how I feel. Anything else you want to say about Seattle or wait? You didn't talk about the. You have any thoughts on the Ravens game?
Oh yeah, the Ravens game. Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of called this in the beginning of the year. Don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but
Okay.
the Ravens. I don't think I picked them to win the division. I'm pretty sure I didn't. And I thought that
Wow.
I was surprised that they were starting off.
Oh, I
pretty
think
hot.
we both had the Browns, I believe.
We both had the Browns, which obviously a
Which was
mistake on
wrong.
our part, guys.
They're awful.
Yeah, which was a very wrong pick. But Lamar. I don't like. I used to believe the narrative that Lamar doesn't have weapons, but now I'm like,
Never
I don't know
bought
if
that.
I believe that. I don't know if I believe that narrative
wrong.
anymore. I'm looking at Hollywood. I'm looking at Mark. I'm looking at Freeman, and I'm like, the offense there seems to be like some fast black guys that can jump, and then Mark Andrews, um, and so I'm like, this is the problem with hybrid quarterbacks, and I'm not saying LeBron is like he's super hybrid quarterback Lamar, but I mean, the whole idea, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, the whole idea of like Lamar just gonna have like all the yards on the offense every game is just fucking stupid, dude. You know, like you need a quarterback who's going to make that pass to Mark Andrews at the end of the game. But I also don't really blame Lamar too much either because Harbaugh's a college coach, and he thinks that it's like all fun and games, and he thinks that it's all fun and games, and that Lamar should be playing this way, and I just don't think he should. And dude, Big Ben towards the end of that game, dude, he didn't even want to play. You know why Big Ben went on one knee at the end of the game and was looking like relieved, like he was about to cry? It was because he was so happy that he could go back home and sit on the plane. He was so happy that he didn't have to play anymore that he was about to come to tears, dude. I mean, dude, by the end of that game, Big Ben was, the tosses that he was throwing was just like, here's the fucking ball, dude. Get out of my face. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. I don't know. Is there any good defensive takes?
Let's talk about the decision to go for 2. It's a controversial one, right? You win the game now or you go to overtime. Some believe that on the road you go for 2. At home you go for the tie because of the home field advantage, right? I don't know. I just think that spot, this is my opinion, and I want to hear your thoughts as well, but like you're playing for, in the NFL, every win is so important, and you have Justin Tucker for overtime, and unless Lamar went up to him and was like, look, I have nothing left, like let's just try and win it now. Then then I'd be like, all right, like we don't know what was said in the huddle, but like I can't assume that. I'm looking at it as an outsider. You're fighting for the number 1 seed in the AFC, and this year someone brought this up. Only one team gets a first round bye, so you're gonna have to play that first weekend. If you don't get it, and now New England just jumped. Not only New England jumps you, now you have the same record as the Titans. The Chiefs are not that far behind, and I just think you got to go for wins. You got to be smart and just say, okay, like, let's just play for overtime because we really need this game. Like, you can't just, I don't know. It was such a gamble, and like at the same time though, it was such a great play call. And it's like, damn, like you almost can't fault them, but I just, it's not a move I would make. Like, in my opinion, like, I see it from both sides. So what do you think?
Yeah, I know it's like an analytics thing as far as that 2-point conversion goes, where it's like statistically, it's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like a coin flip statistically, right. But like based on like, do you win it now or do you win it, after overtime? But yeah, I mean, I guess, in another reality where he does catch it and win, we don't have this conversation, but it didn't. So we do have the conversation. And yeah, I agree. I just think that the risk is too big, like you said, like in the just like the micro, situation in that game, in that situation, then yeah, maybe the analytics make sense. But when you look at it from a macro perspective, you are talking about your position as far as the standings goes, as far as buys go, things like that go. And also you kind of got to look at your quarterback too, like, dude, why don't you just fucking run it with Lamar? You know what I mean? I mean that, like did you say, Lamar, like, yeah, my guy, game winning pass, maybe no, Lamar's a great, I'm just fucking around. But yeah, it's a tough decision, I guess. And I don't know the statistics behind it and the math behind it goes, but it is a really big risk you're taking there. Yeah, and it's not a risk that I'm surprised that.
Yeah, and another point, like I just think with Lamar, like okay, I was wrong that I originally thought he was gonna be a bust, like because I watched him in college and he was he's a phenomenal player, but like you see those guys all the time with Tebow and Manziel, not to compare him to those guys, but like they're great athletes, runners, but Lamar just to me lacks the arm strength of like all these other great quarterbacks in the league, right? Like his deep ball is like he can't really throw it, and it's like what Lamar is he's really smart and he's accurate for the most part, so he can hit those medium throws like short, but the other issue is that they just force it to Mark Andrews so much. Like that's what I wanted to bring up. Like, like you do have pretty good receivers. Hollywood Brown's healthy this year. I like the Rashad Bateman they drafted. Like they're giving him help. I don't know. So I mean, I don't know what you do with Lamar. Obviously, you just give him all the money, and then you just because he's one of the you have to. There's no other option there, and then you just have to hope for the best. You got to just give him great receivers. Their defenses are always. I mean, I don't know how they do it. They just always find a way to draft the great players. Unfortunately, Humphrey went down, but we'll see what happens there. So I think that's good enough for NFL. Unless you have something else to add while I think about our next topic.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think everything's so yeah, go ahead.
All right. Before we move on, a couple sports questions here that came up on either podcasts or just like stuff I was thinking about. All right. Whose career would you rather have? This was on $1 Million Worth of Game. And All Smoke podcast. They did a little collab. I watched part of it. Sorry, where'd it go? Whose career would you rather have? Charles Barkley or Robert Horry?
Ooh. Charles Barkley or Robert Horry? Did Horry already get into the Hall of Fame?
Probably not. He's not. To me, he's not a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's in. But he does have 7 rings, more than Mike, so I guess he's the GOAT.
Dude, I think that you know what? I'm gonna go with the championships. Because I don't know how Barkley lives with himself. Not having 1 ring, it must really suck, dude. And Horry can put on 7, dude. Oh my god! I mean, Horry's never gonna make as much money as Barkley in his career, and that's fine.
Well, that's because Barkley's like a hilarious analyst. Yeah, like that has nothing to do with. Yeah, take that part out of it.
but Horry got the respect, dude. The chips, the hardware, dude. And Horry also has clutch shots too.
That's true.
And so he's a clutch player. Yeah, dude. Fuck it. I would love to live life in Robert Horry's shoes. Fuck Chuck. Fuck Chuck. Yeah.
All right. So I see it from both sides, right? Like not having a ring would be awful, right? Like I'm with you there. Like, but I couldn't. I have to be the number 1 guy. Like if I make the NBA in this imaginary scenario, and like I'm far from that, but like I don't want to be the 8th option on I mean I'd be on some great teams. I get to be on a Shaq Kobe dynasty. I get to play with Hakeem, and I know I'm hitting big shots. It's not that he's not contributing, but like I want to be the one that wins us the chip. I want to be Barkley. Like maybe it's just that tennis like single player mentality. It's like no, I need to be the guy. I want to drop 30 and 20. I want to be the one. And it's like Barkley was so close too. That would hurt. Like, and Barkley talks about it because you know what happened in that series, right? Game 6 in Phoenix, they had it won almost, and then Paxson hits the 3 to win it, and the Bulls win the championship. So, and he was that if that series goes Game 7 in Phoenix, who knows what could have happened? But
it would suck. It would suck to not ever play an All-Star game. Because I don't think Horry was ever.
Yeah, and Charles Barkley and one thing they didn't bring up even on the when they were discussing it, Charles Barkley made the Dream Team, so he was on the Dream Team too. So that's huge.
Barkley was definitely getting more puss than Horry for sure.
Oh, come on now. Absolutely. Especially when he slimmed down and got that MVP. He's like, oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Yeah, and an MVP too. Yeah, I take it back? But dude, it's so hard to wake up with no rings, dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh my God.
He talks about it too.
The experience of winning a championship, the high, dude. That high must be crazy. Yeah.
And he had some heartbreakers because they were up 3-1 against Houston the year they were the number one seed and were up 3-1 on Houston when MJ was retired. They were right there. It's just like just some brutal losses. It's just like I mean, I don't know. I want to be one of the best players in the league. I want to be like, it's my team. Let's go. Like, you're me against Jordan. Let's go, baby. Like, bring it on. Like, that's just the mentality. I don't know. Like, I get it though. Not having a chip, and it's like, and Ori was on three. Well, Houston's not really a dynasty, but three really great teams. You know, like he played with Duncan too. It's just like, that's sick.
I mean, the thing that sucks about being that guy, though, is that when you lose,
you get all
when the crazy thing is you're gonna lose. You know what I mean? Because you know that you're doing Barkley's career, so you know that you're gonna have it all.
All right,
but the brass ring, dude, the brass ring,
and he has 7. I know. That's one of the all-time great questions I've heard. So I created a similar one. I don't even have really an answer. Whose career would you rather have, Tim Tebow or Jeremy Lin?
Dude, Tim Tebow 100%.
Yeah.
Dude.
I thought about it. Lin's run was really short, huh?
Dude, Tim Tebow's an all-time athlete, dude. You know what I mean? All time.
Yeah. He
really is. I mean, he's like, he just is, you know, baseball, football. Dude can fucking do anything probably if he wanted to.
He was so bad in the pros that people forget how amazing he was in college. Like, he was really like an unstoppable player. Like, and it's kind of like people do revisionist history now because you look at that Florida team, it's like, oh, they had like Percy Harvin and like Aaron Hernandez. Killers out there. Not kidding. But
nice.
I mean, no, those Florida teams were stacked. Like, I do remember that. But like, Tim Tebow was the bus driver. He wasn't Robert Horry. You know?
Yeah. I mean, is Tebow like the biggest college player of all time, you think? Like,
he's definitely in that discussion. See, now you're in that discussion. You're in that discussion, yeah. I mean, from now that I guess I'd put him as a GOAT, but like the debate in my like college football goes back like hundreds of years, so like I don't have like a frame of reference for some of those guys, but like Andrew Luck's in the discussion, Deshaun Watson, for more modern, but like to me that I've seen, it's got to be between Reggie Bush and Tim Tebow. Like Reggie Bush, when he was at USC, dude, oh my God. It was like trying to tackle like air, dude. He was like Usain Bolt and he'd like truck you. Like, this is like, he was the most unstoppable player. So like those two are definitely up there.
Yeah. But let's not disrespect Lin too much, you know, because it feels like, but Lin, you know, Lin, Lin's sanity was a real thing, dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
And I bet that Lin was fucking every single Asian bitch, dude. Fine Asian chicks. Oh my God, they like, dude. They probably had Jeremy Lin posters on their wall. They were like, oh my God, finally a guy who doesn't fucking like play table tennis, you know? Like, dude, it was like, I mean, his life must have been on cloud 9 at the time. And I got to bring this up because I think that this is one of the most like disrespectful things I've ever seen in sports. But do you remember when ESPN published an article called "A Chink in the Armor" for Jeremy Lin when there was a little bit of a fall off and there was a big controversy with that? I mean, dude, like Asian men in sports. Yeah, but the thing, dude, Asian men in sports get so disrespected, dude. It's like Asian 100%. Men in politics, dude. It's like, dude, you know why Andrew Yang will never be president, dude? Because white women vote for guys who are like their dads. So that's why Andrew Yang, I mean, it's a fact, dude. I mean, you wonder why women vote for Trump, dude? I mean, there's no other explanation. So regardless,
do you want to talk college football or should maybe we could do Spotify Wrapped? What are we thinking? What are you feeling here?
Yeah, we could do Spotify Wrapped.
That doesn't hurt to hear. I love Andrew Yang. He was on Bob Saget's podcast and there caused some controversy in my work. What if we do? Are we doing Spotify or are we doing college football? What do you pick? Because I'll talk about it.
I mean, I'm curious about it. It's whatever you feel like going for.
I should have so much written down.
Oh, here. Actually, you do have the college rant about the
yeah. Okay. No, I've been saying this for years. There's been a lot of worse than this year because this year's four teams were pretty clear, and you'll see why. But college football playoffs are rigged. The games themselves are not rigged, but the committee is rigged. All right, the people who vote on it are literally just the athletic directors of some of the top programs in the country. So it's not like these. It's not. It's these people are insanely biased, and they just do it for the TV ratings, right? So that's why Bama's usually at the top. Ohio State, Notre Dame. These schools are bringing in the cash. So let's get into it. Here's how they. Now this year it was not as rigged, but it was still rigged. But they did rig it, and I caught it because it's easy to miss because the four teams are obvious. So let's talk about the championship weekend. We'll get into it here. So going in, the standings were Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati. Is that right? Georgia. Yeah, Georgia was one, Michigan was two, Alabama three, Cincinnati four. So those are the teams. Cincinnati wins their whatever little league baseball, whatever the fuck conference they're in. Like they are in a pretty almost a women's league conference. All right, I get that, but gotta give them credit. They beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That's a real win, and as you'll see, that's probably a better win than almost every other team I'm about to talk about. So Georgia goes in as like the number one of number ones, right? They're undefeated in the SEC. They played. I'll give them credit. They scheduled Clemson, but Clemson turned out to be trash. So that win was kind of whatever, but it's still respectable. They went into Death Clemson, one of the hardest stadiums to win in all of the country, and won. Um, And then they pretty much just smoked everybody else. But they played a lot of bums. I mean, a lot of Tennessee, Georgia Tech. They sneak in a little Western Carolina there. They play Vanderbilt. They play like who else do they play? That side of the conference is weaker. Like it's Kentucky, schools like that aren't really football powers. Like at least Bama kind of plays them, but Bama had a really easy schedule too. So I just think Georgia and Bama had easier schedules. Whereas you see Michigan, I think, ran the table, right? Michigan beat they beat everybody except Michigan State, which is like a top 10 team in their own right. It's not like Alabama who lost to A&M, who has four losses and almost lost to Boulder, our school, and we're terrible. So, yeah, I mean, Bama beat a lot of Mississippi State. They beat they played like Mercer and like all this shit. They do this every year. Bama's really sneaky. You know what they do, David? They schedule like a school that looks good, right? All right. We'll play Miami, right? I think that's who they played this year. They play them not in Miami like Georgia did to Clemson. They always make sure it's at a neutral site game. Why do they do that? Because now you say the committee's going to look at it and say, "Oh, well, they scheduled a non-conference power game, right? Like that's a big deal." But they do it at a neutral site because Bama has insane fans and they'll travel anywhere. If Bama played someone on the moon, they'd be lining up down the street to get to the nearest rocket ship. All right? They have diehard ass fans because it's all there is there. All right? So, and then Bama beats the shit out of some of these shitty SEC schools, but whatever. It's fine. Apparently SEC is the greatest.
Real quick, break down how this works. Because I'm still a little bit confused about college football shit. How do they get the schedules here?
Well, the schedules, you play pretty much everyone in your conference or like the side of your conference, and then you schedule the schools themselves schedule non-conference games. So like Alabama, like they played USC a couple times, right? Like they'll play, usually when you schedule a school, you play them twice. Like a big school, like not.
And is it like a mutual agreement thing? Like
these schools agree and they pay, and then if it's a neutral site, like they'll play in like Dallas, Texas, or whatever, somewhere where all the Bama fans can go. Like Nick Saban's really good about that. Like, but it doesn't matter. Like they could play it at the Orange Bowl, and there'll be a ton of Bama fans. Like so they do have great fans. But yeah, and then the playoffs. What makes college football unique and like it kind of up for debate is it's not like the NFL where like you earn it. Like it's selected, so you're picked. So that's what makes it kind of fun to debate. It's like, oh, like who do you think should get in? So here's what happened this weekend, right? So Bama and Georgia play. Georgia's like, everyone thinks Georgia's all this and that, and they got exposed, right? Bryce Young
Mm.
is an NFL quarterback, and Georgia does not have an NFL quarterback. Their quarterback is maybe like a flag football quarterback, or like someone we would have seen in intramurals back at Boulder. Like, he was a joke. So Nick Saban just said, "Oh, we're gonna kill these guys," and that's what happened. It was at the Georgia Dome too. You know, I know you know that stadium very well as a Patriot fan. So Bama wins the SEC, right? And then, but Michigan plays Iowa in the Big Ten championship game, and they absolutely slaughter them as well. It was like 42-3, something ridiculous. And Iowa is like a 10-plus win team, so they're not to be disrespected. So, in my opinion, I think Michigan ran the gauntlet because they played Ohio State, they beat them, and they hadn't beaten Ohio State in a while. And that's the argument the committee used when they put Bama at number one, right? To get everyone off their backs. They'll say, well, Bama just beat Georgia, and Georgia's been number one all year. Okay, but Ohio State was number two. So it's like they both beat, basically the top teams in the nation, just different weeks. So it's like, so they use it as an excuse. So Michigan stays at two, but Bama jumps over them. I thought that was kind of bull. Michigan probably should have been number one. I mean, Michigan beat Penn State at Penn State. That's a huge win. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Ohio State. They beat everybody, And it's not like, I just think Bama, like, kind of just like would barely squeak by Florida, who just got rid of their coach, and LSU, who just got rid of their coach, and Auburn, who's no good. It's like, I just didn't respect those wins. I respect the Georgia win. That was, that's a very impressive win, but this is where I think they rigged it though. Ready? So Georgia is at number 3. Cincinnati's undefeated. Cincinnati should have been at number 3 at minimum, right? Like, they still beat Notre Dame. Oh, and this is how I caught it as well. They had an insurance policy because Bama, there was a real possibility going in that maybe Bama loses this game to Georgia. And so the committee smartly puts Notre Dame at 6. So now, in case Bama loses, you could still get another power in there because Notre Dame is just as watched as any team in America. NBC literally just plays only their games because they're they're almost like the Yankees of like college football is a good way to put it in terms of watchability. But at the end of the day, like, my ranking probably would have been Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati, and Georgia. But they wanted to put Alabama at 1. In my opinion, they rigged it so that Bama will play Cincinnati. And and now you can just say, all right, fuck this non-Power 5 shit. Now for next year, we won't have to deal with this argument because Bama's going to beat them by 60 points. And it's just like, they just want to get rid of that argument. They don't want to deal with it anymore. But and then now it's still a win-win because you get either Georgia or Michigan in the playoff because Michigan is a huge name, right? Everyone's going to watch Michigan play Alabama. And Georgia, if Georgia wins, then you get a rematch. You get a rematch and everyone will tune into that. So that's how they rigged it this year in my opinion. And I originally wanted I originally wanted this 4-team, 12-team, 100-team playoff, whatever. I was all for it at first, but I'm kind of reverting back to just the 2 teams because you know what? Why not just have a Bama Michigan championship? Do we really want to see Bama play Georgia again? Because Bama's going to beat Cincinnati. Like, come on. Like, if Cincinnati beat Bama, that'd be hilarious. But like, I'm just saying, like, I just want to see a Bama Michigan championship. So, what are your thoughts on this theory? Am I out of my mind? I kind of ranted for a while there, but
No, that was really good. I think that's pretty smart the way you put that together. Yeah, I can't say I don't know nearly as much about college football to really probably say anything meaningful, but explain to me this, right? So you can win, you can be undefeated and still not make the playoffs, right? Because of your division, because of what division you're in. So if that's the case, then how does the NCAA expect other teams to start becoming as good as these SEC teams if they're never going to get the chance, if it doesn't matter how good they are in their own thing, right? Because then isn't it just a cycle where the same shit's going to happen forever, right? Theoretically?
Yep. That's pretty much what's happened, right? Because now in the recruiting, who dominates? Bama gets all the 5 stars, Ohio State, and Clemson. And those are the top teams every year. and they don't want those teams because they think that the TV rating. This is more of an opinion, but I think they think the TV ratings are lower when you have like a Cincinnati in there or a Boise State back in the day, schools like that. But I think it makes it more fascinating. Just throw them in there. I mean, and maybe they get killed, but let's see. Like if they earn it, they earn it. Like
and also college football is the gatekeeping to the NFL, right? And I think that's a really interesting topic that we could talk about on another episode. Is that I feel like less kids are playing football. I think that might be right statistically. I'm not really sure. I'm not really 100% on it, but I feel like it's a thing with concussion, safety.
Yeah.
Like I hear a bunch of parents, they don't want their kids playing football. So like, okay, so less people coming into football, so less good players getting spread out to different teams, more people getting funneled into SEC teams, the kids that do make it to play a really high level. And that's probably not good for the culture of football, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a bigger topic, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think they don't care. I think they don't care. I think they think that college football is just king down there, and it is. Down there in the South, they're obsessed. And like, I'm not saying the North isn't, and the West has all, they all have great talent, but like the South is just live, breathe, die college and high school football, and they think they're going to get it no matter what. People are going to watch no matter who's on the teams as well, because people just love their school so much. Like, if Boulder was ever good, we'd be right there we'd be right there watching every game. So it's like so just one of those things. Like
shout out my boy Montez.
Oh, dude, and now they're just building a super conference in the SEC. I told you about this, right?
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah,
where they're adding Oklahoma and Texas. They're just like, yeah, we're doubling down. And
I think what we have to do